welcome back to Identity Insights by Indicio. I'm your host, Tim Spring, and today I'm joined by Indicio CEO Heather Dahl and CMO Helen Garneau. And they're here to discuss Indicio recently being named as a representative vendor by Gartner and their Decentralized Identity Market Guide. Thank you both for taking the time to speak with me today. Before we start, would you mind giving us a brief introduction into basically what these market guides are and why it's so important?
Hi, Tim. These market guides that are published by third-party independent industry analyst firms are important because they take a deep dive into a particular technology, an emerging technology, a solution suite that many of their clients are asking about. And so it allows an analyst to provide a source of truth, let's say, for many of their clients all at once. Usually what has been leading up to the publication of one of these guides is that these analysts are getting a lot of inquiry calls from their existing clients asking questions about a particular topic. And when it reaches a certain threshold, they decide to publish. And in this case with Gartner, it was the market guide. It allows their customers to then move the consideration of this technology or space onto a deeper dive, more detailed look, because they already have a basic foundation understanding through this guide that's been published.
All right, sounds good. So if you could, your best guess as to why Indicio was named as a representative vendor in the space.
Because we make our customers successful with deployments that benefit these companies because they're achieving immediate cost efficiency, cost savings, or they're creating new channels for revenue. And I think that we were included because of our success of our customers in deploying verifiable credentials to their customers and industries. Helen, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely following up on what you said, Heather. I mean, these reports they're a big deal. And again, kind of from the marketing perspective of things, we were so thrilled, so honored to be mentioned. We've had relationships with analysts all over the map when it comes to different types of analyst firms, and to see firm at the caliber of Gartner come and list us along with some amazing other groups has been wonderful. But I really think it's because Indicio has that kind of magic collection of experience. We've been around since 2020, and even before that, contributing to a lot of the standards and protocols that they call out directly as being necessary as part of a decentralized identity solution. We have that experience, we have that leadership. So we have been, leading not only in those standards and protocols, but then leading the market in terms of deployments. So seeing our technology out, being able to point to it and say, see, people are actually having experiences with their mobile devices with information that normally would have taken them a lot of checks, a lot of paper, a lot of bureaucracy, and they can actually do a lot of amazing real world experiences based on Indicio technology. And then I think third, it's just the fact that we are continuing to innovate, continuing to add to our collection. We have this platform in Indicio Proven that it works today, that is accomplishing goals and accomplishing our, meeting our customers' needs, but it is continuously growing. I love talking to our tech team. Every day they have more kind of wins in terms of the growth of this technology and the flexibility and meeting where the market's going, that it's great to just be able to use it today. So I think that sort of combination has been what's really stood us out and made it possible for us to be mentioned in the caliber of this report.
Nice, absolutely. And actually touching on that, in part of the report, they discuss how decentralized identity is really being driven by use case driven growth as opposed to traditional identity and access management systems, which are generally security and compliance driven. They're saying it's basically hundreds of different use cases where they're finding optimization and efficiencies to basically just improve current processes. So I was wondering, I know Indicio has quite a few use cases. Would you have any thoughts on this? Could you go into detail on how exactly we've seen that happening?
Oh, absolutely, because there's the saying that no one cares about your technology. And we totally agree with that because what we care about is the challenges and goals our customers are trying to solve and achieve, right? And we are looking at their business and how we can increase the outcome, whether that is cost savings efficiency or whether that's new revenue. And so I believe that is why this space is so focused on use cases, because the use cases and what we can achieve that hasn't been able to been accomplished before is what's driving this technology forward. We saw that right out of the gate. One of those areas and industries is travel. And while it was not directly addressed in the Gartner report, travel is actually one of the leading use cases in industries that are accomplishing world's first with decentralized identity and verifiable credentials. And so, for instance, the deployment of the ICAO Digital Travel Credential Type 1 by CETA and their customer Aruba and other customers as well moving forward is a great example of about how a use case, a pain point, which was how do you increase efficiency at the border? How do you increase the confidence in your decisions? And how do you improve the privacy for the travelers? Those were the goals. The goals in that use case, none of those goals said use decentralized identity. The goals were here's what we're trying to accomplish. And the beauty was decentralized identity was the mechanism in which we accomplished. So that would be an example of one use case that I think is really leading the way. Helen, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, travel is a case study of where this technology can really impact. The way that in the report, they break down use cases, and they talk about it's the government and the citizen, or the business and the customer, or the employer and the workforce, and they kind of talk through each of those. We look at those as all related, all touching. We build ecosystem. We use the word ecosystem around Indicio a lot because we don't stop at a single credential being issued to a single person or a single bit of data being sent to a specific entity. We look at it as great. You can now send that information, but what are you going to do with it? And how is it going to make your business better, make your government serve its population more efficiently? How is it going to make it enabled and still maintain that privacy? That was another really cool thing in this report that they pull out, that traditional identity management systems, they're trying to build this kind of three-legged stool where you have user experience, they try to deal with security, they try to deal with privacy, but a lot of those modern traditional systems fail at one of those. They're constantly, you get 2 out of 3 in pretty much any traditional IAM system. And that's the beauty of this technology is, again, back to the ecosystem. We're building the ecosystem so that stool can maintain all 3 of those. We're looking at how to keep that user experience really streamlined, really simple. It's as easy as picking up your phone and scanning a QR code to do all the things that passwords and logins and auth codes and key fobs and fingerprints and all those things have been trying to do. We have zero trust security enabled into the architecture. So you are always verifying at every single step of the way. We have that privacy enabled because of our choice of technologies. And again, we don't have to sacrifice one of those 3 table legs in the way that a lot of these traditional systems work. So in terms of use cases, it's really the sky's the limit, and it's not just looking at a single one, but how they all kind of work together.
All right. No, that's definitely an interesting thing that to keep in mind, because I did notice they did break it down to a very sectional kind of approach. Another part of the report I thought was very interesting and worth discussing was they really broke the technology kind of down into capabilities and pieces, right? So they put some in a must-have section, a standard section, and an optional capability type section. So the must-haves are like you have to have verifiable credentials, an identity wallet, and DIDs. Standard, most things have an identity trust fabric, some kind of blockchain, and some kind of interface for verifying and distributing verifiable credentials. And the optional category was what I really wanted to discuss because they put capabilities for zero knowledge proofs in there. They put an interface for issuing credentials to the wallet holders, or the ability for the wallet holders to verify credentials in there. And I'm curious your thoughts on the kind of piecemeal approach and how Indicio handles that, and what we think might be a bit more standard or a bit more optional, a bit more must-have.
Yeah, I mean, and I would just say back to this sort of three-legged stool, we are not having a sacrifice on anything. So all of those optional components of what a customer, those are customer needs. Those aren't even just components. Those are in some use cases and some ecosystems, the one or all of those things are requested and needed. And that's where, again, Indicio really thrives. The fact that we can continue to grow and push the limits and add and add and add whatever our customers need. We are not satisfied with the way, what we have today is the last end all and be all. Like, we are continuously looking at how to innovate, how to add payments, we have a ton of customers in the education field. Why? Because they need to move education credentials from one place to another and have that proof, but still maintain the privacy and maintain the security and maintain a good user experience. So we've added education credentials, things like mobile driver's licenses, digital driver's licenses. Yes, yes, and yes. Like, these are all things that we are able to add because we've proven the way we've built it.
And those items that were listed as optional, or even the way it was categorized, actually, that's the reason we found Indicio, was we found the approach of categorizing or listing things as optional made for random acts of decentralized identity, and nothing was really working or interoperable, and enterprises were struggling. And so we founded Indicio. Our founding team said, we're just going to make it all work. Customers come to us and they get the box, they get everything. They don't have to stress about whether this is interoperable with that. Can I issue? Can I verify? The fact is, to really achieve the value of verifiable credentials, you want to have the ability to issue. You want to have the ability to verify. You want to have the ability to do everything out of the gate, because that's what achieves the business value. And we decided in Indicio from day one, we're delivering full value, and it shouldn't be a choice. It shouldn't be whether some things are optional or not, and I'm going to add them. No, you get it all, because you need to get out there running with this technology to achieve and win and get ahead of your competition, and most importantly, deliver that high value, highly beneficial customer relationship, and develop your business and help advance your customers and the success that your company is having.
Yeah, you shouldn't worry about like your transmission and your tires and your type of axle grease your new car your new car has that you just bought. Everything should work out of the gate. If you want to put a different seat covers on it, great, put different seat covers on it. But that's the kind of thing. If you want to change Indicio to look a different way, if you want it to do this, if you want it to do that, if you want it to climb mountains or go on, airplanes, we can make it happen. And that's kind of the beauty of the flexibility and universality approach that we take.
Yeah, we are, at Indicio, we're experts in this technology. That's what we excel at. And our customers excel in their business space, in their industry, in the problems that they're solving. So why should they have to be the experts that we are? No, we're giving them a head start. So I always say, our customers come to us and they just want a car because they want to drive it, maybe retrofit it here and there to fit their particular use case, but they want to go and drive as fast as they can. And that's what we do. We give them the car and we help adjust it to be exactly the way they need it, but they don't have to worry about whether something's optional or whether this is interoperable, or can I add this at a later day? Yes, you can, and we've designed it to be flexible. So what you build now in the car you have, you can continue to expand and adjust and add things as you go, but you don't have to worry about ripping it up, just run with it. And I think that's one of the challenges that we have in this decentralized identity industries. Have we made it too complicated for the typical enterprise tech buyer? And in Indicio, we said, yeah, we did. And we're fixing that because we want this technology to succeed, and we want enterprise buyers to get out there, and they do not have to be decentralized identity engineers in order to deploy our solution. In fact, they should not be. They should continue to focus on what they do best. And that's one of the foundational values we have at Indicio, is leave the deep technology, all the options, all the protocol, all that to us, Keep telling us what you need to solve your problems, and we just keep delivering it to you.
And I just, one more thing to follow up with that. This report is very telling of the power of Indicio, as I can see maybe a half a dozen vendors who are also listed have built on Indicio. And I won't name names. But
Won't
it's
name
pretty
names.
fun. It's pretty fun to see, our customer success, out in the wild as well and being recognized. So there's a lot of Indicio on this report. So it's very, very exciting for people to read more about it.
Awesome. I was unaware of that some of our other customers are already in there. So that's very cool. So there's one other piece of it that I wanted to bring up real quick to discuss, which is that they're really favorable on decentralized identity. Obviously, it's out there, it's solving problems, it's making more efficiencies happen. But they did have a section that basically claims that the standards need to mature a bit on it. And I was curious what your thoughts are on that, because I know we've already been building it, it's already out there.
So some standards need to mature, some standards don't. Some standards are deployed into production, right? If you look at the report, there's quite a healthy list of standards. The way we have approached it as Indicio is that there is going to be more than one standard. There are standards that we don't even know about yet that will emerge, and therefore, just like what we've done with Indicio Proven, it doesn't matter what standard, what protocol you need, or where it is in the maturity, the system's flexible enough to support it all. The standard you need is based on your use case and what you're trying to achieve. So in some cases, you do need a more mature standard because maybe you're going into production tomorrow into a highly regulated environment. Therefore, you need a more mature standard that accomplishes certain things with your use case. In other cases, this may be an R&D team trying something out that they don't see going online for a year or two, and they're more willing to engage with a standard that's not as mature because they want to try it out to see if it can achieve what they need. Great. We put them all in proven. So you can just add the standards you need when they come online or when they reach the maturity that your enterprise feels comfortable deploying with.
Yeah, like our CTO, Ken Ebert, and all of our technical team, it's like a great orchestration of a great conductor that is being able to bring in those parts and make them work together. Whether it's credential formats, whether it's protocols, whether it's different standards, industry standards from different industries. We haven't even heard of some of the standards that are popping up in across the different industries, and that is the beauty part about the way that we have built this product and the way that we're seeing it used in real time. Is that it's just not something you have to wait around on. You don't have to wait for sit and hold your thumbs while you wait for some working group to meet for the 10th time to finalize an AR, a reference implementation or what have you. We are moving with what we have, and we're picking up and going, and we are going to ensure that every step of the way is compliant. Every step of the way, our customers are able to operate and work within their jurisdictions, within their regulatory environments, within the needs, and meet the governance needs. That's part of our governance, our machine readable governance. The beauty part of it and why we invented it is because we need to make sure that our customers feel safe and are able to manage their ecosystems and their use cases the way they need to, not the way we need them to, the way that they want to. And that's the beauty part about being, about Proven.
All right, awesome. So we only have a few minutes. I have just one last question I'd love your thoughts on really quick, which is obviously this talks about adoption, how it's growing. It's very quickly being adopted across a bunch of different industries. And I'm wondering if we could tie it back to the average person really quick. Like, how will the average person be impacted by the growth of this technology? And a few thoughts on that.
Well, I think they won't know necessarily why they're able to get from their plane to the beach in 30 minutes, but they're loving it, right? They're going to be like, man, that was the fastest arrivals experience I have ever had. And look at me, I'm sitting on the beach, and 30 minutes ago, I was sitting in a plane. Will they be able to say that's because I used a verifiable credential, a decentralized identity built on this protocol? No, and I don't want them to necessarily know that unless they're geeks like us. But what I want them to know is that their vacation, their business trip, their family had a significant life improvement, and they were able to increase the amount of privacy and also move and share their data with consent at every step of the way. So they're not worried about, here I am at the beach. What did I have to give up in my privacy to get here? They're at the beach and they know that they have full control of their data and that they consented every step of the way and that their data sits with them. That's what I hope people know when they use this technology.
Yeah, I like to say that I'm in this business for purely selfish reasons. And that is because I never want to fill out my address, my social security number, my birthday ever again. So I chose to work in this field so that my life will be better. I remember a trip I was taking internationally probably 10 years ago. I had 2 little kids at the time, and the airline, the airplane that I was on, they didn't have the forms, the little kind of forms to fill out online. So we had to wait till we got there. You know, the the process of getting off a plane, we all know, is not the most fun. And then we all stood there in this little tiny hallway, 300 people. Do you have a pen? Because like sitting on the floor, trying to write our names and trying to, you know, fill out this like information. And I'm just like, there should be a better way. Like, we should not have to do this. And so, you know, that is the type of situation that we are stopping. If I knew going onto that plane that like I just had to tap some buttons and scan a thing, and then I could just get to the beach and get going, and, you know, get everybody through those checkpoints in a easy manner, I'd pay $20 for that service. Like, I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing people wanting to, who value their time, who value their experience, and they just want a way that like isn't super creepy, where like you're gonna have to like give a bunch of information to some random company and download another thing and open another whatever. And I think it's, you know, this is an opportunity to make people's lives better. I mean, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to speak too highly of what we do here, but I mean, it's true. We are really helping people's lives. You know, anybody who's moved a lot in different places, who have to, you know, list their addresses for the last 7 years, I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I've moved so many times that I do not remember all the places I've lived in 7 years. And that's especially for like finance and KYC and AML, that's a huge bar. So now we're talking about how to make this technology and services more accessible, right? And accessibility, bringing, you know, people who are neurodivergent, don't speak the language, have different abilities that, you know, limit them from being able to interact. You know, I mean, technology should make our lives better, and that's what we're doing here.
Awesome. No, I think that that really drives it home. Thank you for all that, Helen. That is about our time for today. I really appreciate both of you taking the time to be here and talk to me. If you at home are interested in learning a bit more about verifiable credential technology, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll continue to bring you some more educational content. And if you have any questions or specific topics that you'd like for us to cover, please go ahead and leave a comment below, and we'll be sure to read and address them. Thank you all for watching.